Hello everyone, this is Blake from Lineup Lab, and today we'll be looking at our NFL Optimizer for 2016. If you were with us last year, you'll notice quite a few improvements. We wanted to put more of the important DFS information in front of you this season to really help you make better, faster decisions and just make DFS less of a grind overall. So to get started, you'll see that we have a schedules table now with all of our team information. We have Vegas information like game totals and odds. We have weather information like the wind speed. And if there are any other if the game's going to be very cold, we're going to have, the game shaded in blue. So a lot of the stuff should hopefully be very, very helpful in spotting teams that you want to make sure are in the optimizer or out. And to do that, you would simply start clicking on games. You can click on entire games or individual teams, and as you see that the optimizer table is getting, the player table is getting updated, and those players are being removed. We also have slate buttons that you can click on to allow you to select all of the games just from a particular slate. So those will line up with Fanduel or DraftKings, also kind of speed things along. In the upper right, we have our projection dropdown, and here you can select from one of our projection providers like DFSR or 4for4. And we also have a historical demo data set you can play with just to kind of play with the system and learn it. And then we have, you can save your data and come back, which is really nice because the projection points will still be updated throughout the day. So you can save all your work, but as projections change, that data will change automatically for you. If you do make a change to somebody's points, then we'll freeze those points. Those won't change. So it's a pretty intelligent system. And finally, you can import your own projections. So if you do your own projection generation in Excel, you can bring those into the system and use the optimizer just as you would normally. So moving on to filters, let's take a look at some of the options here. We can filter up players. What's very common is just raising the floor on some of these filters. So if we raise the floor on salary, we can see that the player table gets updated automatically. We can do the same thing with points and points per dollar. We also have a probable or better only filter. So if I turn that on, it will ensure that anybody who was questionable or out is removed. There's our friend Tom Brady. You can see other players that were removed from that filter. They're either questionable or out. And of course, you can always go in and manually, bring guys back in by clicking the plus sign here, and that will bring them back into the system. So another great filter to hopefully save a lot of time. Let's take a look at the player table here. So a lot of the same features that you might be familiar with, like locking in a player if you absolutely want to have them in the results. We also have game logs for each player, so you can see individual stats over his last several games. We have a lot of additional stats here that are focused per position, so all the quarterback related stats, all of the running back related stats, and so on. And then here in the bottom right, we have our advanced options section. So you don't need to adjust anything in here, but it's extremely popular for folks to use these options. So of course we can control the number of results that we want, and we can apply sort of a blanket diversity algorithm to our results. And this is nice. I think our advanced users start to lean on this less and less, and they will start moving to what we call limits. And we'll talk about limits briefly, and we have a more detailed video on how to use this. But limits simply limit the number of times a player can show up in a result. So if Gurley is showing up in all of your results, you can limit him to just say 3, 4, 5, 10, whatever number of results you're comfortable with. And you can really apply a sort of a fine-tuned approach and create the perfect set of diverse lineups. It takes a little more time than just dragging this diversity slider, but in our experience, we've seen a lot more success going in and sort of fine-tuning your results. We also have stacking options, so you can stack players from a team just by selecting that team, and you can do up to 2 teams here. We also have the ability to turn on this no offense versus defense. So this just ensures that none of the results will have offensive players that are playing against your defensive team. You don't want to play against yourself, right? So pretty good, helpful features to help speed up your lineup creation process. Let's go ahead and click calculate and see what kind of results we're getting right now. Now, a couple of things you can do on the results page. If you don't want a player in the results, you can easily just click the red X and remove that player and then click recalculate. Additionally, you can lock in a player. So if you absolutely want to have somebody in, then you can lock that player in and recalculate. And when we do that, you'll see the player we wanted removed is gone, but anybody that we have locked is still in our results. Also, we can save our work here. Now, you may have noticed there's a save button on the front on the main page, and there's also a save button here on the results page. They do the exact same thing. We just wanted to offer a save button in both places so you could quickly save what you were working on. And we can give it a name. And what's really nice is that when we come back to that file, we can recall all of our work that we've saved, but at the same time, all the projection points will update throughout the day. So that's really nice to actually save all of our work. The way we would do that is click on the drop down here on the main page and click on Load Save Data, and then the system will show your saved files. And you can go in, all of your settings, all of your filters will be saved, but the projection points will update. If you do change a specific projection for a player, we'll save that in the system, and we won't update that. So that's also nice to know. If you do want to make a permanent change to a player, you can do that. So finally, on the results page, let's look at our download options. When we click download, you can use just a basic lineup lab format. It just shows you kind of a nice, easy to play with Excel file. But there's also this importable CSV, which is far more popular, and this is what we would take directly over to Fanduel. You can see I've already been generating a few here. And it will generate a CSV file that you can take directly into Fanduel. And it's also a nice way to quickly check and see if you're getting the results that you want. So right away I can see that there might be, well, in this case the data is all it's very early, but if somebody's dominating a position and I don't want to be exposed to him that much, I can quickly go in and put in a limit for that player. And that's where limits becomes very, very powerful, as I can go in and start limiting these players. I have him locked, so we can't limit and lock him. And I can start to apply limits and get just the perfect amount of basically diversity that we're looking for. So let me pull up the new file and show you what we're talking about. And you can start to see the diversity starts to kick in. And once you start making changes, you'll notice that it does change, some of the results up. And that's just the nature of this algorithm and the math problem that you're trying to solve. So with a little bit of work, you can create really nicely diverse lineups and give yourself just the right amount of exposure. What's nice about that is you can be very player specific. So there are oftentimes players that are just a mortal lock. You want to have them in all of your lineups. And there are guys that are just high risk and you only want to try them a few times. That's where limits becomes very powerful in letting you really pick and choose who you want exposure to. So that's all for now. I hope this video has been helpful. If you have any questions, give us a shout on our contact form here, or just give us a buzz on Twitter. We do have more advanced videos and tutorials. The links will be in the description below. And if you're interested in seeing more videos, please go ahead and subscribe, and you'll be notified when more videos come out. That is all for now. Thanks, and good luck.